Hello friends, and welcome back to my video series on building your dream business. Today's video is going to be a little bit more financial. As a disclaimer, I have to put it out there, I am not a financial advisor, I'm not an accountant. I highly recommend that you guys do seek out professionals who know much more about this than I do. But I wanted to make a video on this because I wanted to just share what I do with my business as far as banking, money management, credit cards, all of that. I think it can be a little overwhelming if you're starting a business, and a lot of us start really small. So opening up a bank account might not be the first thing on our priority list, but as someone who's been doing this now for almost 4 years, I definitely feel like I can give you guys some great tips and tricks and maybe might help you if you are in that current spot where you're trying to figure out what's the best way to maybe finance your business or keep growing it, all that stuff. So we're gonna get into that today, and I'm just excited to share more with you. I'm so happy that you're enjoying all these business videos. I think it's a nice compliment. You get to know me on the vlogs that I post on Thursdays, but then we can chat a little bit more about business, and I truly want to give you my experience. I don't think I'm an expert in everything, but sometimes sharing my story helps others, and so I'm really excited that you guys are finding value in some of the things that we talk about. So again, if you have any ideas too or questions, leave them down below. I've gotten so many great video ideas from you guys, so thank you so much. It helps a lot. So did you guys know that 30% of small businesses fail because of finances or cash flow? I don't think I actually knew that. I can't say I'm surprised, but I'm really happy to say that at the last 2 out of 3 years that I've been in business, my business has been profitable, and I honestly believe that that's why I was able to leave my corporate job, but also start scaling my business. So my first topic is around banking and credit cards. I did not take out a credit card the first year I was in business. I wasn't doing that much volume, and I didn't really want to manage having a separate credit card. But I definitely did it at the end of my first year. There are multiple reasons. One, I knew I was gonna use my credit card and charge as much as possible to get cash back. I have gotten multiple thousands of dollars this past year in cash back, which has allowed me to scale my business. So it's basically free money as long as you're paying off your full monthly balance, which is what I do. I don't carry a balance on my credit card. I pay the whole thing off, so I'm really strategic with how I use it. But getting that cash back is adding up to be a lot, and it's helped me to buy a lot of equipment. The second reason I think you need to have a separate business credit card is because it keeps your personal and your business expenses separate. It's really important when it comes time to doing taxes and all of that. It's just another way to keep those two things separated. When I go to Target, if I get personal stuff and business stuff, I separate it out and I pay 2 separate ways. So that's been great for my business and just keeping myself organized. Setting up a separate bank account wasn't the first thing I had on my mind, but once I started doing markets and having to pay for things and write checks, again, wanted it to be separate from my personal. So I opened up a separate bank account and I got checks for that. It was great. It's been great since I have to pay rent and everything. So even though I don't think I've written a check in my personal life in a very long time because everything is auto, I do find that some of these markets, and again, my rent, you have to write a check. So it's great to have that bank account and have it be separate so you're not transferring money back and forth, and it's just clean transactions. I'm not much of a reader when it comes to books. I wish I did more, but I just have a hard time sitting and focusing. But when I do read, I read business books. And I have a book for you guys that I cannot recommend enough. It's called Profit First. It is by the author, I'm gonna butcher his name, Mike Golowitz. But anyway, I'll leave it a link down below so you guys can go check that book out, because I read that cover to cover in just 2 days, and I really love his philosophy on being profitable. There are so many businesses that are huge that are not profitable, and I know maybe their focus isn't profit, it's top line sales and whatever, but I love his philosophy on being profitable. He thinks you should be profitable from day one, and I completely agree with this. The way he thinks about how you do that is very much like, do you remember when you were a kid and maybe you got your allowance and you like divided it up because you had to put a little bit of money in savings because your parents told you to. You put a little bit for like rainy day funds and so on and so forth. Well, that's kind of the philosophy, and I've been living under that for 2 years, and it has completely changed the game. And it's like putting money away on the side, you do not see it, and you're profitable. And the profit doesn't have to be huge. We're not talking about millions of dollars of profit. It could even be $50 worth of profit if that's what you can afford. But the point is, you have money, you have profit, you're not going into debt. The other part of his philosophy that I love, being, even if you're turning a very small profit and it's $50 or something, is to go and spend that profit on something fun. So he doesn't want you to spend it on something for your business. I do. I spend my profit on things for my business, but fun things for my business, like boards for my photos, props, things like that. But he wants you to go and spend your profit on something fun, because at the end of the day, we're all getting into this business for two things, for the most part. We're getting into our own business for financial freedom and happiness. And I certainly think that if you are in debt and you are constantly stressed about money, it's going to be really hard to grow your business, and you're not having fun. You're not going to be happy. So highly recommend his book. There's a lot more to it. I really just summarized it up in just to a few short minutes, but it is a life-changing book, I think. And even if you're not in business, it's a huge benefit for you personally. And I just highly, highly recommend it. It's a great read and it's super easy. It's not like one of those dry business books like most of them, where you get a few pages in and then fall asleep because it's so boring. Not like that at all. So next would be to pay yourself if you can. Actually, I haven't paid myself yet until this month. So the first month of my almost 4 years. And the reason being is I worked a full-time job. I didn't have to pay myself from my business. I did put the money away though, in the same sort of philosophy as the book I referenced. It feels amazing this month to say I paid myself, and I paid myself my corporate salary. And I'm planning to pay myself my corporate salary from now until forever. You guys, you can do it. You can pay yourself your corporate salary or more. It's possible. I'm doing it for the first time this month. And yeah, it took me a long time to get here. It wasn't an overnight success, but you can do it and it feels amazing. So if you can pay yourself, even if it's a small amount, it doesn't have to be your salary. It doesn't have to be this huge momentous thing that I'm sort of describing now, but even if you pay yourself a little bit of something, it is so rewarding to feel that. And it could be $100 out of your business that you make that year. But if you go and spend that $100 on something that makes you happy, that just gives you that motivation to keep going, there's nothing like it. It's just going to be so much more fun when you actually can reap the rewards that you've been working hard for. Overall, I think the best way to start a business and grow a business is to be very scrappy. You don't want to be stuck with so much debt that you're stressed out. You get to a point where you might need more money and you don't have the cash flow. I realize some of our situations might be different. I started a business out of my home. I didn't have a lot of overhead, and so really I could start in this sort of smaller space and not have to go all in. If you are looking at doing like a retail store and you need to pay rent and all of that, I understand that that might not be exactly like the way that I started my business, but either way, you can still be really scrappy when it comes to stuff like that. And what do I mean by that is not cutting out the quality of your products. That is not what I mean. I do not mean being cheap. I don't think that it's smart to buy cheaper ingredients, drive the price down, try to put your price up, not pay attention to packaging. When I was building my business, I never sacrificed my products. I was always looking to upgrade those things, but you know, you have to make decisions on your business and what's actually going to be something you're spending money on that's going to drive your sales or contribute to a better product, and what's something that's just nice or fun to have. So an example of that might be, let's say you move into a studio space and you want this really pretty light fixture that is $1,000. I don't even know. I don't buy light fixtures. I don't even know what they cost, but let's just say a hypothetical light fixture that costs $1,000 for your new studio. Is that actually going to contribute to you growing your sales? Or is it just like a nice thing to have? And if you have the money and you're super profitable and rolling in dough, then buy the light fixture. But the point of this is we're all starting out somewhere, and so to choose the light fixture over something that would make your product better, that's what I mean by being scrappy. We don't need the shiny things, those don't actually make our business, they make our business on the outside seem really cool, and yeah, it might be great for an Instagram post or when you do your stories or something like that, but that's not actually going to result in more sales and then more profit. And so it's sort of like a dead end expense. The next piece of this philosophy on being scrappy is being patient. I know it can be really tough, especially now when you're on TikTok and you see people that have overnight success stories and they're printing out miles long of their shipping labels and you're not. I think that that can be really upsetting, but remember, and know you know this, it's only what they're showing you. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Just because they have the orders doesn't mean they're driving a profitable business. So be patient with yourself, be patient with the process. Like I said, my business got to where it is today over 3 years. And I think that that can be a long time for a lot of people, but just keep going and just be patient. As you start to get more profit, you can invest in more stuff and start growing. I just moved out of my house this past year. I've only been out of my house for 6 months. I waited and waited and waited, again, being scrappy. I didn't move out of my house until I knew I really needed to. When I was busting at the seams, I couldn't have friends over at my dining room table because it had soap all over it, ready to be packaged. I got to a point where it was no longer possible. I didn't make that jump to a huge studio space either. My first studio space is 400 square feet and I'm very fortunate for it. That's what I mean by being scrappy, kind of living below your means. So again, be patient with yourself, be patient with the process. I personally feel like slower growth is better. It's more sustainable. You're not gonna make as many mistakes. You're gonna be able to manage your finances and buy things as you grow. So whatever profit you make this year, turn it around and put it into something else for next year that's gonna help you scale your business and grow. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next video. Bye.